How's it going? I'm Ryan, and today I'm going to go over the two trades that I took on NQ. I had a loss to start the day, finished out with a win for a small red day overall. We'll take a look at what I was watching going into those trades and why I took them. First, just a quick overview. We have, if I pull up like an 8-hour chart, we have yesterday's highs and lows designated by these green and red boxes. We have some 8-hour levels on the chart, the ones that were relevant today where this 516, this 550, and that's about it. Then we have the pre-market high at 536, pre-market low at about 408. So let's take a look and talk about why I took what I did. So to start the day, we in the pre-market we were holding this yesterday high area. You see that we held it here, held it right before market open, and then we got a strong push off market open. We broke above this like 515, 516, which we saw as a slight resistance in that pre-market. Broke above that pretty strongly on the opening candle. Next candle broke above pre-market high and my next level of resistance around 550. Following that, we got a little pullback. I was watching to see potentially if we held pre-market high. We did not. And then we pulled back into this area around like 516. And I was watching to see if we could hold this 516. Now, this is the 15-minute chart here. And basically was watching to see if we could hold this level. If you look at that 15-minute candle though, that wouldn't be much of a hold. You know, I'd want to see it close up here and then get a pullback into that pre-market. So I wasn't really looking at pre-market at this point. I was kind of looking at this like 515, 516 area where we had broken out of initially before pulling back and then broken out of again. So I was watching to see if this resistance could be flipped to support and give us a little bit of a continuation. Where I went wrong here is I entered without confirmation on the 5-minute, so I entered a little bit early, and the reason why I did so is I was watching the 1-minute. I watched this come down, I watched this tap it once, twice, and we performed that hammer, and then I entered on the following candle. My take profit was high a day, and my stop was below these candle bodies here, around like 495 or so. At this point, and I guess I can turn those on so we can see exactly there. So I entered after we had kind of bounced, pretty much entered at the high of this 1-minute candle right at the open after we closed that 1-minute, and that was my mistake on this trade. This was the learning experience, is not waiting for that 5-minute confirmation. So we broke lower and stopped me out. At which point, then I waited to see kind of what we wanted to do. We tried to hold that previous day high, failed. Broke below it, test that 200 EMA and close lower. And then we start to come up and retest. On this retest, what I was watching is I was watching a few different time frames. I was watching the 8-hour. So we can see that we got a nice move up over the past day in pre-market, but this 8-hour candle that just printed at 10 has that long upper wick and looks pretty heavy, looks a little weak. A lot of potential for a pullback to happen here, potentially down to like 300 or so if we're looking at this 8-hour time frame over the course of a day, not necessarily immediately. 4-hour, same thing, right? We had like a failed breakout. It looks like we have what's a bull flag here. We get a move higher, we kind of flag, we push higher, but we fail to close higher. We have that long upper wick, once again looking a little bit weak, and then retesting this area that was resistance yesterday and in the after hours right in here. Same thing on the 1-hour, right? We have this area that was resistance. We tried to break above it, then we broke back below and closed lower, and then are retesting that area again. And then last and not least is the 15-minute, where we see that same pattern, right? We see this area of resistance, broke above it, acted as support, then we broke back below it and we were testing it. So we expect it to act as resistance again. So I flipped and went short at this point after looking at this confirmation across all these time frames, looking like we were going to get a move lower. Took a short. My first take profit was at 440. So I was looking at this 15-minute and where a logical place for price to want to go to. Since we had already kind of hit and broken below this like 450 level, where we see some consolidation, I went to the next, which is around like 440. We dropped and hit that, and that was my first take profit. Now I left a couple runners, and my runners were for this next level down here, just where I have a level at like around 420. And once I hit my first take profit, brought my stop loss to break even, and we got to move back up, kind of retesting this consolidation that we broke out of that stopped me out for break even on my 2 runners. So 2 runners did not get actualized, and that is why we have a small red day. Had I taken my entire position off, we would have had a green day. Had we, dropped and hit my final target, we would have had a pretty nice green day. So it is what it is. It's a very manageable loss today. Yesterday we had, over $600 win. Today, $114 loss. So it's if I can have very small losses and nice wins, then we'll keep this account growing, and that's kind of the direction that we want to go into. I did not go over where my initial stop loss was. My initial stop loss was above the swing high. So I entered in here, stop loss above the swing high, take profit at the next logical area of support based on that like 15 and 5 minute. And then my next runners were just the next higher time frame level that I had down at 420. We did quite a bit of chopping here, as you can see. So it took a while for this trade to play out. I sat in the trade for like over 20 minutes before we finally got that drop that hit my first take profit. So yeah, I think we do have like Nvidia earnings later after market close, so potentially that is causing a little bit of choppiness in Q, especially. Yeah, just the 2 major lessons. Excuse me. 2 major lessons are waiting for 5-minute candle confirmation, which I didn't get here. I could have avoided that loss had I done so. In which case, if I was waiting for 5-minute candle confirmation, then I probably wouldn't have taken a trade until this break and retest here, potentially like on this candle. So could have avoided that loss, and happy to have at least made most of it back on my 1 winning trade. So 2 trades were done, 1 loss, 1 win. It's a super manageable losing day, so we'll look to come back and finish the week strong over the next 2 days. That's all I got. I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. If you found anything valuable, like and subscribe. It helps me out, helps the channel. And we'll continue to stream live every morning as we trade, and then follow that up with a recap, talking about what I was looking at going into the day, why I took the trade that I did, how I managed my trade, the outcome of the trade, etc. This is all a learning experience for me. I am not profitable over the long term, and that's due to usually I go on tilt. So I have been able to grow accounts, and then just one bad day we'll lose them. So my biggest lesson that I'm trying to get past is accepting the losses and just continuing to stay the course, because when I can do that, I can grow accounts. And but yes, very much still learning the process and documenting it as I go. All right, peace out. Hope you have a great day, and yeah, take care of yourself.